This is the house we've been renting for the past year. It's the first and only house we've lived in since we moved in Norway from Switzerland in May 2023. And we might have to move soon. We've spent a crazy year trying to settle down in this new home while exploring the area and the beautiful nature that Northern Norway has to offer. From the very near beauties around our home to farther stunning regions, we couldn't be more in love. But the ideal didn't last for long, as our landlord has decided at the end of April to sell the house we're living in. It wasn't really our plans to buy this fast, but the rental market outside of cities so far north isn't really what you can call dynamic. Quality rental opportunities for individual houses are pretty scarce. And as we wanted to buy at some point anyway, we thought this was maybe the push we needed to take the next step. In the past weeks, I've started finding reasons, convincing myself that the house we're living in at the moment is the right one for us and that we don't really need to go and visit some other houses because there are so many things that we like about this house, and this might be, just fine for our first purchase. And yeah, kind of finding it's not only excuses because I really like the house and you know how much I love the forest that is behind the mountains or waterfall and all of that. And all of that is true. No, I'm not making this up, but yeah, I feel like in the past weeks I've been kind of glorifying this house maybe a bit more than what it is for real, because it's not perfect. And as I've said before, we have a main road that passes in front of the house that is pretty noisy and takes away a bit of the fact that I don't feel as remote as I wished we were. There are still some downsides to this house that makes it just a very good reason for us to visit and compare on what's on the market. Yeah, and the reflection that I had was that probably I'm having this kind of inner speech because I'm afraid to change. And even if it's been only a year that we've been living here, I think it's way enough to feel settled and yeah, to feel that the change and the house purchase and all of that and getting into something new again is scary. But I think it's scary in a beautiful way. But I still kind of buried my head into the sand for the past weeks, and this is why I only contacted these agencies yesterday, even though it's been a month that our landlord has told us that he wanted to sell this house. And looking at all those ads and all those properties, I felt like I was being very picky. And I guess it's because where we come from, like in Switzerland, it's really not that easy to buy a house because it's really, really expensive, way more than here. And so I feel like it's a huge thing for me, like buying, especially our first house. So I really want to make it right, and if we choose to buy another house than this one, then we don't know what we're getting into because we've never lived into it. So I just, want to maximize the chances for it to be the right one, and at least something in which we feel good to live in for the next years, hopefully. Not 1 year as this one. Anyway, I'm very excited still to bring you along on our future house visits. So here I was, on my way to finally visit my very first house. Alone, as Johan was only coming back later the same day. It was a lovely little house, nested between mountain and fjord, with lots of land and a big barn. The barn was over 3 floors and had incredible storage space, with a nice workshop. The house itself was older than the one we're renting, but really well maintained. Though the main rooms were a lot smaller, and even if we have very few furnitures, as we're working from home and spend most of our time at home, it is nice to have a bit bigger rooms, especially with our 2 big dogs. The house was located next to a road that's supposed to be secondary, but as it's on the way to the Lofoten Islands, it's still quite busy. Conclusion, compared to our current house, the change wasn't worth it. Feels like we've been there already.
Yeah, but it was for renting, not for buying.
That's true.
That's a bit different.
It is. A few days later, Johan being back, we hopped on to 2 new visits around Senja Island. The first was also supposed to be next to a secondary road, but it was actually leading to the closest city and was pretty crowded. The old man who owned this house passed away, and his family was selling the house. And so the inside was way older than what it looked on the pictures, which made us understand the lower price.
T'as testé? Tu peux t'asseoir d'autres.
Our hypothesis is that it's how not to be rude. A sink to make love.
A fucking sink.
Yes, we can live in it, but it's and it's way less nice than ours.
Yeah.
Another sink, a normal one. The basement was big and full of potential, but required quite a lot of work to be in proper condition.
Door. That was supposed to be a door. That could be still another. You? That could be your office.
Dobby.
Little Dobby. You are a mean boyfriend. Hey, look! You even have a little light
Oh
so that you can work.
No, that's for the guests.
The overall house is older than what I thought.
Yeah.
Because I thought that the first floor with the living room, I thought it was in a better shape from the pictures.
Yeah.
But like the floor in the living room looks super old.
Yeah.
What's good is that there is a lot of room. And it's cheaper than our house. But more has to be done, but at the same time we can pack our things and live in it. Like,
Yeah.
it would be okay.
Yeah, if we were to put that house at the same state of our house, it would be at least the same price, I would say.
Yeah.
I definitely prefer our house.
Yeah.
I prefer the house in itself, and I prefer the place it is in, like the mountains, and like there's not many mountains around here.
It's
So-
flatter here, yeah.
Yeah, so we can go to Senja and it's closer, that's good. But still, like, you can't really go skiing from the house like the other
As
one.
we can do, yeah.
Yeah.
It is 5 in the afternoon and
And everything is closed. We wanted to
So-
go to one cafe and it was closed at 4 p.m. And then the second one closed at what?
3:30, yeah.
Yeah, half past 3.
No pastries. And we're in the city.
Yeah.
It's not as if we were in a village or something.
Yeah. So we finally found a cafe.
Yay! The third house we visited was in a peaceful and countryside area of Senja. This is the first house where I could really feel the difference between living next to a main road versus being truly isolated. The interior spaces were mostly renovated, and we were pleasantly surprised by the condition of the rooms. The problem with houses built around the 60s and before is that the foundations weren't built isolated from the humidity of the ground, and the draining systems are inefficient if not inexistent. This is what we witnessed in the basement of this house, which walls were full of saltpeter, which is a sign of heavy moisture in the walls. Hence, the very low price. Yeah, it's big things that have to be done, and maybe soon, as the roof and what did you say? The other one, like la fosse septique.
Yeah, no idea.
We will put translation. Fosse septique. And then you can see like down on the outer part of the walls, it's kind of like the first layer is kind of crumbling because of the moist and the humidity. But what we were saying before is that none of us is a professional of the construction works, so it's hard to evaluate and to know the risk you're taking.
Yeah.
But at least it would, like, taking this one would take off the pressure of having to wait for a loan and not knowing where we're gonna live
Yeah.
in the fall.
And it's a different approach because, like, financially, it's probably a wiser decision right now because we can, like, buy cash that house and
To take this one, you're saying?
Yeah. And it can be sold pretty easily, I think. Well, again, apart from the road, I really like the surroundings of where we live, like the mountains, and then like beautiful sceneries from the house, and we can go skiing from the house, and that I like a lot. And you have the waterfall, and you have the river, and that's really nice. And also, obviously, I prefer the house that we live in itself. But again, that's like a rich problem.
Rich people problem,
Yeah. But as one friend of mine said very smartly, if you want like poor people's problem, then be poor and live in a poor country. And if you want like war country problems, then go to a country that is at war. So that is very sound.
Yeah, but it's
well.
not the matter of wanting, it's the matter of putting some perspective to,
Yeah, of
like,
course,
not
but
making too much drama or something that is the
No,
luck
but-
in life.
yeah, I wouldn't say it's an excuse to settle for something lesser just because like other people can't have.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. But the thing is that we don't have much time to think about that house.
No, and we have more than the one I visited alone, because like the one I visited alone, I think the evening there was a bit, and then the house was sold the day after. And here they have another viewing tour on Sunday, so we have 4 days,
Yeah.
three days and a half.
Yeah.
3 days and a half.
Two full days.
Yeah.
Getting back home, we called one of Johan's friends who's done a lot of house renovation in his property. And we got the conclusion that buying a house with so many heavy problems was too risky as a first purchase, even for the cheap price. The bids ended up rising quite a lot, and this last house was finally sold at 700,000 Norwegian crowns. So nothing conclusive so far. But we keep searching and comparing to our current house that stays at the top of the list for now. And we'll show you more for sure. Waiting for that, we try to soak in as much as we can of the summer and to enjoy every simple moment we still have here. Thank you so much for joining us in this hectic journey, and we'll see you again very soon.